Every setting on this headphone comes with a trade-off. Push the volume up and isolation changes. Turn on the low frequency boost and the mids shift underneath it. This review walks through exactly what each of those trade-offs costs you. Push the volume close to its top here, and the consequence shows up right away in the low frequencies. They hold a steady presence without taking over. The vocals and instruments stay clear enough to follow, and the high frequencies stay calm instead of turning sharp. Switch on the low frequency boost mode, and the low end gains a slight lift, while the mids lose a small amount of detail in exchange. The balance holds, but the difference is subtle enough that some listeners will not notice it at all. Being an on-ear design, external noise gets blocked out well, even without active noise cancellation, and people around you will not pick up much of what you are listening to either. Comfort here comes with its own set of trade-offs. The headphone is light, though not quite as light as its predecessor, the TAH2209. Early use brings some creaking in the plastic joints, and that consequence fades after about 3 to 4 days of regular wear. The earpads also start out tighter around the head, and after a stretch of use, that clamp loosens into something more comfortable. It works fine over glasses, and it stays in place through regular exercise, but push it into intense training with heavy sweat, and a different consequence appears. There is no international protection rating here, so splashes, sweat, and dust are not part of the deal. Treat it as a daily commuter, not gym gear, and it holds up for an estimated 2 to 3 years. It folds down for travel, much like the JBL 520BT, but that flexibility comes at the cost of a slightly more fragile build around the hinges. On the feature side, the trade-offs continue. Battery runs about 25 hours on paper, closer to 20 to 22 hours in real daily use depending on volume and calls. Charging is fast, 2 hours gets you a full charge, and 15 minutes on the cable buys about 3 hours of playback. There is no app paired with this model, so functions like locating the headphone or a custom equalizer are not available here. It does support multiple point connection, so switching between a call on your phone and audio on your computer works without needing to reconnect anything. As for the wireless range, it holds steady out to about 7 to 10 meters, and past that point, the connection becomes unstable. One more consequence worth flagging. There is no low latency gaming mode on this unit, so casual play works fine. But competitive use is not where this headphone earns its keep. If you search for equipment based on real, hands-on testing, this is exactly the kind of channel worth following. New models in this same price range get compared here on a regular basis, so if that helps your buying decisions, sticking around means catching the next ones before you commit to anything. Every call routes through this microphone, and that routing has a direct consequence for how your voice comes through. It sounds a bit muffled and distant. For a message on WhatsApp or a call with family, it holds up fine. For a work call with your manager or a job interview, the consequence is different. The drop in clarity becomes noticeable enough that a dedicated microphone setup would serve you better. Choosing between these two comes down to one practical trade. Pay less here and accept fewer features, or spend a bit more on the JBL 520BT and gain an app, an equalizer, and a stronger microphone. For a budget-friendly headphone in the $15 to $25 range, built for daily commutes, light exercise, and steady battery life over flashy extras, this one holds its ground. Push it toward intense workouts or professional calls, and that is where the trade-off catches up with you. One quick clarification before we wrap up. Throughout this review, I compared this headphone mainly to the JBL Tune 520BT because it's the model most people already know. If we bring the newer JBL Tune 530BT into the conversation though, the comparison changes quite a bit. You can usually find this Philips model for around $20 to $25, while the Tune 520BT often sits closer to $35. The newer Tune 530BT typically ranges from about $35 to $59 depending on where you live and current discounts. That's a noticeable price difference, but in this case, it also comes with meaningful improvements in features, newer technology, and overall audio performance. I've already done a complete review of the JBL Tune 530BT as well. If you'd like to see a direct breakdown of everything it adds over this model, you'll find that review in the card on screen. Now, if you've decided this is the right headphone for you and you'd like to support the work I do here, consider using the affiliate links in the description. I've already searched for the best prices to make things easier for you. Buying through those links doesn't cost you anything extra, but it directly helps the channel continue producing honest, detailed reviews like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.